when's the first moment, Hikaru, when we start deviating from theory or what you've seen before?
Right around here, actually.
Okay.
I briefly looked at this, I think for a game I played against Boris Gelfand in Moscow, and so pretty much after d5 I was on my own, and I looked at this very briefly before the game, and I just figured I have two bishops, and just play chess, play the position, more or less.
David, any?
Yeah, I was about the same. I mean, I got to here, and I mean, it's just time to find a plan. I didn't really recall what the theoretical recommendation was.
Okay.
I mean, I'd never played this before, and I only very briefly looked at it from the white side, actually, because, I mean, Hikaru actually kind of got me into a setup that I didn't really want to play. For some reason, I anticipated 1c4.
So from your point of view here, you'd love to get those light square bishops swapped off if you possibly could, wouldn't you? But
if that could happen, then
okay, rook c1. Okay, rook c1.
Yeah, I think this whole idea probably with b6 and queen d7 seems a little bit dubious. I thought during the game that probably instead of b6, bishop e6 is much more solid. Bishop e6, queen b3, b6, rook ac1 probably, c6. I assume a4, queen d7, king h2, and maybe white's a little bit better here, but black's setup is very solid, and it's hard to really break through. So during the game, I was really wondering what would happen had David decided to play the setup. Fortunately for me, he didn't.
You didn't have to worry about what. Okay, b6.
I mean, my worry that was it would be a bit passive, but then I guess there's no clear plan for either side, and black's just very solid. So
okay,
this would probably be my sentiment.
Rook c1. So queen d7. Was this to stop the queen coming? What's queen d7 as opposed to committing the bishop?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure. Maybe the bishop could come to a6 at some point, but then.
So you were just keeping the options open for this bishop.
Maybe bishop b7 as well.
Okay, let's keep going. Bishop f4, bishop b7. And well, at the moment, I mean, that seems to be, there's a pretty nifty bishop there, isn't there, at the moment here? So the knight has to move. I guess knight h7.
I think if rook e6 and white goes f4 or f5 very quickly.
Now, out of interest, Hikaru, why this move c5? What if you'd played something maybe like keeping the tension in the position?
Actually, yeah, this is where I used most of my time. I was looking at queen g4 and also taking on d5, depending on the order. But if queen g4 here, it's gonna be, okay. Let's start with, on queen g4. I thought f5.
Okay, so I guess you keep coming or something.
And if I go queen h5, now c5.
Okay. So you're hoping to somehow try and undermine this bishop here.
Well, also you can take on c4 now. Now you're threatening to take on c4 and just swap the bishops.
Swap the bishops.
I thought if this happened, I might even be a little bit worse now.
I was more worried about queen f4, but then we were looking at it afterwards. It didn't seem too scary for that.
Okay. I mean, so you were more worried about this than queen.
Queen f4. Queen f4. White hasn't very nice bishop on e5, but then it's black. So round to a better square.
Okay.
It's not so clear.
c5, okay, fantastic. So,
actually, the other line is also I can take on d5 here after h7. C takes d5.
Ah, okay, yeah, wow, okay, yeah, because this looks quite.
But now rook ac8, queen g4, f5, and I wanted to play queen h5. The idea being that after, let's say, rook e d8, for instance, I can just play something simple like h4, and after black trades on d5, just queen takes f5 and white's up a clear pawn.
Okay.
But the problem is that after queen h5, I actually almost played this, but only towards the end did I realize that rook f8 is possible here instead of rook d8, and there's absolutely nothing here. You're just going to take on d5 next move. And bishop on e5 is just a big pawn.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? A big pawn.
Well,
I'm sure a lot of club players would look at that bishop and think, wow.
It's not doing a
that's
whole
a big
lot.
pawn.
And I have some bad pawns behind it as well.
Okay, some bad pawns behind it. Okay.
I mean, I'd actually seen to queen h5 and I hadn't seen rook f8, so I was a bit worried about this for that. I'd actually wasted a lot of time calculating some long forcing variation of the queen g4, just taking on g4 and not f6.
Oh, okay, let's check this out. Queen takes g4.
Six?
and then knight f6 I thought was in.
But just takes in d6?
Yeah, then bishop takes g2.
d7?
Yeah, take that one.
Rook takes c7?
Oh, okay. Well, guys, this is exactly what they're always just one step ahead of me. Okay, here.
Rook takes c7?
Yeah, rook takes.
Rook takes c7.
I mean, at first when I
Oh,
looked at this,
wow.
At first when I looked at this, I thought the pawn was still on h3, so I could go bishop.
Look at that.
Yes,
But then
that's
I
right.
thought, well, if I
Black
do-
is actually up by a rook and a bishop here.
and if I have to go rook d8.
And white's down a rook and a
You
bishop.
thought you
and
might be
a
able to
rook
draw
and
this still. Rook
Yeah,
d8.
rook d8, take on e8, take on f1, rook d8.
queen.
I mean, I thought white's winning chance and black's
Rook
winning
d8.
chance as well.
Close to drawing this, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I thought take on a7, take on d4, then.
Yeah, this looks very drawish. I would assume this is a draw.
It's interesting how every time a rook and pawn endgame comes up, it's just a draw. I mean, we saw the other guys came in rook and pawn, pawn up, just a draw.
So what's the rule? You have to be 3 pawns up in the rook endgame to maintain
I
just a
think
slight advantage.
connected pass pawns are always handy, aren't they? Yeah. Okay. So thanks for the
I mean, rook
simple.
a6, then I thought white still had some small.
Okay, rook takes d3.
Okay.
Takes rook a3. Yeah, this is a draw.
Ooh,
Rook B2,
no,
yes.
I didn't mean that, guys. Okay, rook a3. That's over.
Yeah,
right.
rook b2, king g7, king g6, and f5 is pretty easy draw.
Because you have the active.
Rook a7 draws as well.
Right, exactly.
Exactly, guys. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to head back to a c5. Yeah. So what is going on here? So c5. Did you feel you were still better here, Carl?
Well, I like on the previous couple of moves, I was planning on taking on d5. So then I used about a half hour trying to figure this all out, and I knew that I always had c5 if everything else didn't end up working out. So pretty much I concluded it didn't work, and I just played c5. Because
Do you feel frustrated, like most people I'm sure do, when they spend a long time on a variation and then decide that's just not going to work, and then you have to do something else?
Well,
Or is that just life or chess?
that's just life. I mean, we're professionals. We've been playing our whole lives, so I think that we certainly had it happen many times, and you get used to it, and you keep going on. You try to find something else, new idea, different plan.
New idea, different plan. Instead of taking on d5, that pawn advanced up to c5, and let's keep going. c8, h4. Okay, so that's limiting the knight options.
Yeah, I think actually
I
I have to go for this idea with h4, king h2, and bishop h3, because otherwise knight f8, knight g6, or knight e6, and I think once again I'm going to end up in some trouble.
Okay. Oops.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I played rook a8 was because, well, I'd underestimated this h4 idea. I mean, I thought I could get my knight around t6 anyway, and I thought it would just be fine. If I'd seen this, maybe I'd have just gone c6 instead.
Okay. So instead of going rook c8, I mean, the upside of that is you're defending the c pawn. The downside is you're putting things along this diagonal. So possibly c6.
Yeah, I guess c6 probably f4 now, and
Oh. Okay.
because I always have bishop
Now you
d6.
have this square here. Okay.
But still, I think after f5, it's very hard to do anything special. I think if I can get an f5, then I think I have some good
so you can
chances.
actually
But
go
I
ahead.
think after f5, it's not easy.
Still got that big pawn there on e5. haven't you?
Right, yeah. Well, I think Black's just going to go b5, a5, and wait basically,
I mean,
and it's
white must probably try to play g4 at some point. Bishop f3, king h2, rook e1.
yeah, so
rook
okay.
e1
So
to
for
get
example,
some
bishop
pressure,
f3,
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay,
we're looking
b5.
at somehow getting some pressure here. Okay. So b5.
king h2.
Yep.
What did I see here? I think I saw something like a5 now. G4.
Okay.
Okay, rook
Or
g1,
rook g1
rook
first,
g1
yeah.
probably. And I think I saw rook a7 maybe here. Rook a7, g4, bishop c8. It looks unpleasant, but I'm still.
Can he keep doubling up if you trebling up or something on the g5? Rook g4?
It's actually, yeah, it's starting to look pretty bad again. Yeah, okay, maybe
So we
f5
might
is
find a
bad.
use for
then.
that eventually, maybe. So okay, so f. Okay, so still.
So
still good
c6,
for white,
yeah, so
isn't it?
c6 f4, yeah, it's still probably better for white.
Okay.
Anyway.
So rook a c8, h4.
Yeah, I think this next set of moves is all pretty much forced. So.
Okay, king h2 takes. Yeah, knight blocks. Rook takes c5, f6.
Bishop f4, yeah, these are all pretty much only moves now.
So queen d8. Okay. So,
Right, so queen d8 and now rook a5.
Yeah, because now rook a5.
And I guess this is really the second critical point in the game where c5 is very aggressive. Certainly, it's trying to create counterplay here. Whereas I actually was more worried about a6, just a simple waiting move, because now c5 is potentially much stronger since there's an rook takes a7 next move, and wasn't really sure what I was going to do here. Had David played a6. Queen b3. I thought queen b3. So I think now there's knight takes f4.
Okay.
I don't know. Knight takes f4. And, okay, queen b7. Bishop c8 then takes.
Take with bishop.
Or no, you take with the queen. Queen and queen g4. Queen, so queen takes c8.
For a little
take on f4 and queen g4. Yeah, and just simply a draw.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought a6 was. In retrospect, I thought it was a better try. During the game, actually, when David played c5, I started getting worried because I saw rook a7, queen b6, and originally I thought I could just play something simple like rook a3 and then knight takes d. But then after knight takes d4, if I take on c8, bishop takes c8, I think it's close to losing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure the difference between rook a4 and rook a3, but it's quite a big one.
Now this position here is very interesting. So I think one interesting possibility was to sacrifice the exchange, was it? After queen h5, queen c6.
Well, queen c6 I think loses. I think there are many different ways.
So that's the reason.
But here, actually, after f5, as we were looking at after the game, it's I'm not really sure what's going on. I assume probably probably I have to sack.
Yeah, I was worried about the d4 again, but
takes bishop f5.
That's a lot of resources.
Probably just rook a8 now.
Yep.
And the point being rook c1, rook e7.
It's covering that square. Okay,
Rook c1 threatening rook c7.
Right, and rook e7. And it's very, very solid. I don't have many entry squares. I really want the queen on g6, but I think black's covering all the squares on.
That's quite interesting then, because if you saw that, then we were really amazed in some way that because we thought, David's got 1 minute left. Rook takes d4 in this position. And
maybe I can play it first instead of queen h5. That's also
okay. But here, what's the difference if you play it here? If you take on d4 and play bishop f5 here?
Yeah, this is probably winning, I assume. So takes bishop f5. I just saw rook e7.
Rook e7.
Queen
okay,
g6.
Queen g6.
King f8.
King f8.
Queen h7. And I saw that on bishop g6 there was always queen e6, queen g8. So for some reason I just decided there's no need for this. And the other reason is also I felt that rook b1 was a much trickier move, considering that David had 1 minute left. Rook b1's not a move that you're expecting, and it's extremely hard to come up with a useful move here.
So it's just a very good practical decision, basically, isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe you can go f5 again, but f5 rook a7 looks dangerous. f5 rook a7, rook e7, and just rook e7 only move, and probably bishop e3 now. And I assume that this is winning.
It looks dodgy, doesn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So rook a8, it's no time.
Now, so things started to get a little bit painful for black around here.
Yeah, actually, bishop takes a8, I think, loses. Instead of rook a8, black can also take with the bishop, trying to, create some threats. But I think now rook b6. Rook b6.
Ooh. Okay.
Queen a4. Yeah, now rook a6. Queen b5. Now rook a5.
Oh wow!
That's
very annoying.
Yeah, queen c6 takes, queen a4, and then I don't know if there's some really nice way to try. Rook a5.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, rook a5, queen c6, rook a6, queen b5, rook b6, queen a4, rook b4.
You sure there's not a repetition somewhere?
Yeah, and rook b4.
Okay, rook b. Oh wow! Look at that! It's amazing, isn't it? Just going round and round.
Yeah,
Oh
so-
dear. Okay, fair enough. Rook takes A8. So we have.
Nothing on that 3-track things.
Yeah, King G2. Yeah, I mean, it's King G2, Knight E1, King H1.
Okay. So bishop.
It's still losing, but it's not as nice, obviously.
So there seems to be potential for tactics.
Yeah, I guess Rook D8 is the only try. Knight E6 just loses on the
loses
spot, but
Okay.
still Rook D8, Queen G6. And it seems highly unpleasant once again. King.
I just didn't see a big hero. So.
I mean, King F8 is the only move, but now A4 and
A4. Okay.
just A5, Rook B6, and whole king side falls apart immediately.
Wow. Okay. So knight E6 definitely felt as though something was going to happen here, and indeed it did. Rook takes B7. Queen takes here. Oh wow.
And bishop takes H6.
And then it was just a massacre around here, wasn't it?
It's-
So in
yeah,
fact-
No offence, David. I mean,
So in fact, there was this nice variation where here wasn't there. No,
Queen
Dave,
G6.
you might want to close your eyes. Wasn't there? Was there one where? Oops.
yeah, I just start taking everything, taking
And,
F6.
and in particular, nice was this move here,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Checkmate. That's
Right.
horrible. Oh dear. Okay.
So yeah, bishop E3 now. And, yeah, I mean, two bishops are
And
just.
that is, look at that. That is really. That's just rubbing it in. I mean, everything's attacking horribly. Okay, rook takes D5.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Check,
it's
and
just-
then we're pretty much at the end. Okay,
Right.
brilliant. Okay, have you got any tweets?
we have got any tweets. We've got a tweet for Hikaru, which was by a regular tweeter, a chap called Barone Rossi, who said, obviously we all know you've been working with Kasparov now. Has he given you any advice apart from the chess on physical activity? I mean, we've all seen that clip of him get out the swimming pool. No, I mean, he was in the Bobby Fischer film, I think. Was it?
Is that the best question we can?
Yeah, well, it's one of the questions. I'm quite interested. Has Kasparov said, 5K runs or get on the bike or?
No.
Get on your bike,
Actually, he hasn't said any of that to me. I mean, it's strictly been related to chess. But I will say that on my own, when I'm not playing chess, I like to do mountain hiking, and I run on the treadmill quite frequently when I'm not competing during tournaments. So on my own, I do quite a bit of
There you
physical
are.
exercise.
One question for David as well. David, I know we talked about this briefly the other day, but because it's prime time now, we'll just repeat it, so keep it triangles. After finishing university, will you only play chess or will you combine, like Luke McShane? And that's from Zabgayeva.
Can I change my answer from the other day?
Oh, that's
Oh,
David.
I'm going to play chess.
he's going to play chess, people. That's what we want to hear. That's a round of applause. That's quite it. One more quick question for Hikaru or David. Have you got any tips to avoid time? Okay, I'm going to ask Hikaru that question. Hikaru, have you got any tips? Well, I can answer that. Play quicker. That's what they always used to say to me. Any tips for avoiding time trouble?
Well, I guess here I haven't been getting into time trouble, but in my last couple tournaments, I've had a few memorable time scrambles, and I actually lost a very unfortunate game on move 40. So I think the main thing to avoiding time trouble is trying to just play stuff you know, try and get to structures that you understand, try and reach positions where the plans are pretty simple and straightforward, as opposed to, say, on move 11, reaching a position where you have to think for a half hour, because generally it does not bode well for the game. And getting in time pressure, I think, maybe Grishuk is one example of someone who plays better in time trouble, but I can't think of anyone else who really makes better moves when they're under pressure like that.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, from a personal point of view, I mean, a lot of mine, this tournament at least, has been due to nerves. I mean, other people seem to handle it better, even when they're low on time. I mean, maybe in a tactical position, it's just horrible. I mean, but then, yesterday, for example, I kind of self-destructed when just staying solid would have been completely fine. And, I don't know, I just can't remember the last time I won a game, so...
It's going to come. We've got faith in you, David.
We get the
We've got
violins
faith.
out.
We've got faith. Don't worry about that. And plus, remember, we've got 15 computers running here, so if you need any help at any... I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. Look, we're going to have to get... we're going to have to wrap this up because we've got another game to get through with Mr. Kramnik. So, David, thanks for coming in. Obviously, I know it's tough defeat, and well, Hikaru, thanks for taking us through the game. So, a round of applause.